3 decades, the American political establishment has operated under a single, unchallenged dogma that India is the natural ally. We've been told that New Delhi is the democratic counterweight to Beijing, the partner that will share our values and protect our interests. But recently, a chilling wind blew through the corridors of the State Department. Reported comments from U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau have sent shockwaves through the diplomatic community. His words were a brutal cold shower for those dreaming of a seamless U.S.-India alliance. Landau reportedly stated, quote, "The U.S. will not give India the same kind of economic advantages it gave China. The U.S. will not allow India to become its competitor. The trade deal will keep Americans first." End quote. This isn't just a minor policy shift. This is a declaration of a new Cold War, not against an enemy, but against a partner. It signals that Washington has finally learned a painful lesson from the rise of China. Today, we're peeling back the layers of this growing rivalry. We are asking the tough questions. Is India the next China? Is the American tech industry being hollowed out from within? And is the Modi Doctrine a threat to the American worker? Tonight, we analyze the India trap. To understand Landau's warning, we have to look at the wreckage of the American manufacturing sector. In the 1990s and 2000s, Washington made a historic gamble. They opened the gates to China, believing that trade would lead to democracy. Instead, we lost our supply chains, we lost our middle class, we watched as the heartland of America was hollowed out, while Beijing used American capital to build a military designed to sink American ships. Today, the only thing the U.S. has left, the crown jewels of our economy, is the technology sector. Silicon Valley, aerospace, AI, and high-end semiconductors. This is the last line of defense for American global dominance. But Washington is waking up to a terrifying realization. The same pattern we saw with Chinese manufacturing is repeating in the tech sector, but this time, it's happening on our own soil. Christopher Landau's words suggest that the U.S. will no longer stand by while another partner uses American markets to build a rival superpower. The message is clear: we will not be fooled twice. If you look at the leadership of the world's most powerful tech companies, a curious pattern emerges. From Google to Microsoft to Adobe, the C-suites are increasingly dominated by Indian-origin CEOs. On the surface, this is framed as a success story, but beneath the surface, a more complex and troubling narrative is taking hold. Critics are pointing to a disproportionate takeover of Silicon Valley leadership. It isn't just about the CEOs, it's about the entire ecosystem. There are growing concerns about ethnic nepotism in hiring practices. Native American engineers, the very people who built the foundation of the internet, are being sidelined. We are seeing a massive wave of layoffs in the U.S. tech sector. Thousands of talented, experienced Americans are being shown the door. And yet, at the same time, these same companies are moving their entire back-end operations to Bengaluru and Hyderabad. The fear is no longer just about losing blue-collar jobs to China. We are now losing white-collar, high-intelligence jobs to India. If the U.S. loses its grip on tech innovation, it loses its soul. Landau's Americans First policy is a direct response to this hollowing out of the American professional class. Central to this shift is the H1B visa program, originally designed to bring in the best and the brightest where no American could be found. It has arguably morphed into a massive corporate loophole. The data is staggering. Year after year, the vast majority of H1B visas are snapped up by Indian outsourcing firms. But there is a darker side to this flood. Investigations have revealed systemic fraud within the H1B lottery system, multiple applications for the same individual, consultancy shells that exist only to bypass visa caps, and the systematic undercutting of American wages. This isn't just a labor issue, it's a social one. By flooding the Western professional market with subsidized labor from a single region, the U.S. is creating a tech monoculture. This H-1B pipeline has become a tool for corporate giants to replace expensive, vocal American workers with cheaper, more compliant foreign labor. Christopher Landau's insistence that a trade deal must keep Americans first is a shot across the bow of the big tech lobby. He is signaling that the era of the unlimited H1B gravy train might be coming to an end. We must also address the spicy reality that many in the media refuse to touch, the cultural impact of this massive rapid migration. Assimilation is the cornerstone of any successful immigrant society, but in many tech hubs across the US and Canada, we are seeing a refusal to assimilate. We see the formation of parallel societies where Western values of public order and civil sense are being ignored. In neighborhoods dominated by these new arrivals, residents are reporting a decline in civil sense. We're talking about the dumping of trash in public spaces, a disregard for local traffic laws, and a lack of investment in the broader community. This isn't just about culture, it's about the social contract. When a large group of people enters a society but refuses to adopt its civic standards, it creates friction, it creates resentment. And for the American worker who is already losing his job to outsourcing, seeing his community change in ways that feel alien is the final straw. Landau's rhetoric reflects a growing sentiment that the U.S. should prioritize those who are invested in the American way of life, rather than those who are just here to extract wealth and send it back to New Delhi. This brings us to the government in New Delhi itself. Under Narendra Modi, India has pursued a policy of strategic autonomy in plain English. That means being a fence-sitting opportunist. India wants the protection of the U.S. Navy in the Indian Ocean, but it continues to fund the Russian war machine by buying record amounts of oil. It wants American tech transfers, but it refuses to stand with the West on critical global issues. The Modi government has a track record of betraying old partners. Look at their history with Iran or their cold shouldering of the West whenever a better deal appears on the horizon. This isn't the behavior of a reliable ally. It's the behavior of a regime that views every relationship as a transaction to be exploited. Landau's comments suggest that Washington is finally seeing through the Vishwa Guru branding. The U.S. is realizing that India isn't trying to be our partner. It's trying to replace us. And it's doing it by using our own tech industry against us. As we wrap up this deep dive, we have to ask, was the Western-educated era of Nehru and the Gandhis better for the West? Say what you will about the old guard, but they were predictable. They spoke the language of international law. They understood the long-term value of a stable, principled alliance. Modi's India, by contrast, is driven by a populist, often short-sighted nationalism that prioritizes the deal over the truth. The mass layoffs in the U.S. tech industry are a warning light. If we lose the tech sector like we lost manufacturing, we won't just be losing low-level jobs. We will be losing our edge in AI, our control over global finance, and our national security. Christopher Landau's words are worth thinking about twice, and then a third time. He is telling us that the India experiment has reached its limit. Washington is finally admitting that you cannot build a partner out of a competitor. The India trap is closing. Will the leadership in Washington have the courage to put Americans first, or will they continue to sell off the crown jewels of our nation to the highest bidder? The era of blind partnership is over. The era of managed rivalry has begun. I'm World Shift Report, and this has been a special report. If you value this kind of unfiltered analysis, make sure to subscribe and share this podcast. The truth is often uncomfortable,